When I was 11 years old, my family moved from Southern California, where we had beaches and the ocean and Disneyland and a swimming pool in our backyard, and we moved to Denver, Colorado. And we lived in a little neighborhood called Bear Valley. It was called Bear Valley because Bear Creek ran through it. And about the same time we moved there, the city of Denver built a bicycle trail that ran along a creek. And it was really great because it meant that we could ride our bikes all the way to Bear Creek Park. And the creek went through Bear Creek Park, divided it in half. It's really kind of the tale of two parks. On the north side of the creek, there was a big grassy area, and there was a parking lot and a playground. And the playground had the usual equipment. It had slide and swing and a merry-go-round and those little horse things that you could rock back and forth on. But the real centerpiece was the slide. It was a giant concrete sombrero. And it was really a double slide, and you could slide down either side of the crown of the sombrero, sliding around in the brim. And it was really cool. And if that had been all there was to the park, well, that would have been just, cool. But the south side, south of the creek, was completely different. It was like it had never been developed at all. The way you crossed the creek was stepping across stones. And then on the other side, there were trees and logs and rocks and dirt and bushes and birds and animals. And it reminded me of the hills that I played in behind our house in Southern California. And so I loved riding my bike to the park when I was a kid because it was this little slice of familiarity and all this strange newness. And Bear Creek Park actually was the backdrop for a lot of really neat things that happened in my life. The first time I ever went parking with a girl was at Bear Creek Park. And I was really nervous, like I am now, and really excited and embarrassed, and she was way more experienced than I was. But it was amazing. And I had a group of friends, and we'd hang out in the park. We'd get a case of beer, the Mickey wide mouth, so that we could drink it really fast, good stuff. And we'd go down to the park, and we'd get high and drink beer and play Frisbee. And we were really hardcore about our Frisbees. We had the regular 133-gram Frisbees, but then we also had the 160-gram ones with a really deep rim and a smooth bottom, so you could do all kinds of neat tricks with them. And we had the heavier 175-gram ultimate Frisbees, so that they would always fly true, even in the wind. Well, eventually I moved away from Bear Valley, and I stopped getting high and getting drunk and stopped going to the park with my friends. One day, one of the guys in the group called me up and said his little brother had gone down to the park and taken an intentional overdose of drugs and killed himself. And it hit our group really hard, but it devastated his family. The older brother got a job in Detroit and moved away. Their father ended up hospitalized with dementia, and he passed away about the same time my mother did. Well, my friend from Detroit would come back every year at the holidays, and we'd take his mom to a movie and to dinner. And because she was all alone, and because my mom had passed away, she became my surrogate mother. And I'd send her birthday cards and call her up, and she'd send me birthday cards, and I'd go over and visit, and I took her out for Mother's Day every year. It was great. But then I moved to New Mexico, and I would come back for the holidays, but my friend was never here the same time I was, and even when I moved back 5 years ago, just never really reconnected with her. And then a couple of years ago, she passed away. So my friend wrapped up all his affairs in Detroit, sold his house there, and he moved back to Bear Valley. And now he lives in the house that he grew up in as a kid. And there's all this stuff. It's exactly the way that it was when his brother died. His mom hadn't changed the carpet or the appliances. It had the same books on the shelves, the same pictures on the walls. It was like time had stopped for her when her younger son died. Well, while he was going through all the stuff in the house, my friend found his little brother's Frisbee collection. So last year we went down to Bear Creek Park with one of his Frisbees and a six-pack of Mickey's Wide Mouth. And the park's gotten some improvements, The big grassy area has got soccer fields, and there's some really nice bridges, really well built with handrails going across the creek now. But the sombrero is still there. The giant sombrero slide is still there. And the memories are still there too. So we played Frisbee and we drank a couple of beers, but before we left, we went and found the spot where they'd found my friend's brother. And we took our last 2 beers and we opened them and we poured them into the dirt.